Hi all, today is the 18th of September 2020. It's the last day of the Jewish New Year 5780, and tomorrow is our new year. It's a day upon which we believe the earth and all its creations are judged. It's not, however, a solemn time for us because we're celebrating another year closer, another year further down the road to what we believe will be the ultimate redemption. A time that, according to Kabbalistic tradition, should happen sometime within the next 219 years. It's also a time for me of renewal and new beginning. I have, over the last 8 months or so, made some big changes in my life, and I now wish to start making some changes or trying to help foment changes in the world around me. Changes for the better, of course. This is the introductory video to my new channel, Not Breaking News. My name is Gavin. Thank you for watching. I was just a youngster at the time of the Six-Day War in 1967, when Israel was at war with her neighbors. I don't remember much about it. In 1973, there was another war between Israel and her neighbors, the Yom Kippur War, and that one I do remember a bit about. I remember lying with my father, listening to the radio, to the English service of the Israeli Broadcasting Corporation, telling us about the situation in Israel. And I remember that my father was very worried. These were existential threats. And despite that, just 4 short years later, Israel and Egypt signed an historic peace agreement. And President Sadat was greeted by a red carpet when he came to visit the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. That peace treaty between Israel and Egypt has lasted until today, and in the meantime, Israel has signed peace treaties with Jordan and has diplomatic relations with Turkey as well. This past week, another historic milestone has been achieved. Israel has signed a peace treaty with the United Arab Emirates and with Bahrain. The peace treaty, of course, was brokered by Donald Trump in the United States. And to facilitate this peace treaty, Saudi Arabia has agreed to allow Israeli air traffic over its airspace. An Israeli airline has now scheduled regular routing between Tel Aviv and Dubai. All of this that's happening is a big deal. These are historic moments, the like of which we haven't seen for at least 20 years, if not more. And it's very sad and unfortunate and very telling of the political situation in America, where everyone is trying to paint the other one blacker than they are, that the mainstream media and the Democratic Party have demoted this to an also-ran, and even claimed that it's become a distraction for the elections which are to be had in less than 60 days. So President Trump has achieved this amazing feat. It's amazing. And how has he achieved it? By actually looking at the facts on the ground and thinking about what really needs to be done. And he turned conventional wisdom up on its head. Donald Trump has been called a fascist. He's been called a warmonger, among other things. Despite the evidence, he's certainly not a warmonger. He's the only president in modern history that I can remember that hasn't started a war with anyone. And this peace deal, of course, would give a lie to all those negative claims about Donald Trump, especially if they were to gain widespread acceptance. So they cannot be accepted at any cost, because for to do so would be to lose face. Trump detractors have tried to stymie him at every turn, claiming that moving the US embassy to Jerusalem would destabilize the Middle East and create war.
There will be no separate peace between Israel and the Arab world.
Thanks to the Washington Free Beacon for this quick compilation.
President Trump's big decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and one that Palestinians and others say could destroy hopes of Middle East peace once and for all.
The president's unilateral action will get people killed. How hot will it get? And how destabilizing will it be?
What he has done is thrown a diplomatic bomb into the Middle East peace process.
They're not interested in history.
They don't know history.
That would then embarrass all the Sunni Arab regimes. They would have to do something, enormously complicating, by the way, Israel's relations with them.
It's going to stop any hope of Middle East progress in the peace talk.
In my opinion, the signing of this historic peace deal, the first of its kind in 2 decades, and probably longer, gives the lie to the conventional wisdom of the recent past. Trump is a real estate broker, and his business is negotiation. And anybody who makes a living out of negotiation will tell you that it is imperative that one negotiate from a strong position. The only real terms that can be negotiated from a weak position are those of surrender. Israel is not about to surrender her right to exist, which is what many of her opponents, particularly the Palestinians, would like to have. And this fact that Israel is not about to surrender its right to exist is self-evident if one actually takes the time to go and look at the facts. Conventional wisdom, of course, has been trying to tear Israel down, forcing her to concede more and more, and ultimately driving her along a path of ultimate surrender. This, despite the fact that both actual peace treaties that Israel has signed have lasted years, whilst concessions such as the Oslo Accords and the withdrawal from Gaza, undertaken under some kind of pressure from the rest of the world, have failed dismally to create any kind of peaceful environment and have actually fomented more war. Israel wants peace and is a willing partner for peace. And her track record with Jordan and with Egypt prove this. Our national anthem basically says, we have our own country now. Leave us alone and let us live in peace. That's literally what it means. In the tumult that is the run-up to the American elections in less than 60 days, let us not forget this peace treaty, this historical moment that virtually everybody said was a non-starter. Let us not relegate it to the level of a mere distraction, because it is hugely significant. I pray that people will start opening their eyes to this fact. May the burgeoning peace that is beginning in the Middle East right now be the start of something wonderful. May it be the portent of a new era in prosperity and the recognition that everyone has intrinsic value and that no one person has more right to exist than any other. May we find ourselves living in a time when the idea that individual respect and responsibility towards others becomes the norm as opposed to the exception, where lives matter just because they do and not because they are any particular color. May we find ourselves in a time of freedom from our own personal limitations, both real and imagined, in order that we grow together and create a society where all are respected, all are important, and all are heard. A society that lives in peace with one another, that has been redeemed, ultimately, from the narrow-minded, petty partialities, prejudices, and hatreds that have dominated mankind's history. May we see a new age of peace and prosperity for all. Happy New Year to the whole world. May you be judged favorably. L'shana tova tikatevun v'tichatemun. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe.